What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. I'm Tony Mango, joined as always by Robert E. Felice.
Actually, this week I'll be going with the name of Dick Starks.
Not Rick E. Stark with a Z.
No. I'm really trying to get over Dick.
You heard it here first, everybody. Rob really wants to get over Dick.
As you can tell, this is an NXT podcast. It's just Tony and I. And
really? You're not just reading out your Tinder profile?
No. But I will say, for anyone remotely interested, I did just log back into the apps as of like yesterday. So, yeah.
Oh, there you go. If anybody wants to put Dick over or whatever you were just saying, then you have a special V-Day surprise. And by V-Day, we don't mean Valentine's Day. We mean Vengeance Day. It's the WWE version of that. It's coming up this Saturday at, I believe, 5 p.m. is the pre-show.
Whoa.
I think so. I saw something about 6 p.m., but
Sure.
they almost never say the time of the pre-show. It's almost always like, check out SummerSlam at 7 p.m. and the pre-show starts at 5, like that kind of thing. So I think that the main card starts at 6 o'clock. And I'm totally down for something starting a little earlier and all. Like, I want every one of these pay-per-views to just be like in the afternoon.
Can I be honest and tell you that I hate the fact that we don't know when Grand Slam is going to start?
Oh, Grand Slam I've completely written off.
Okay, so on
Saturday
Peacock,
night, it's whenever the game ends, I think, right?
Oh, that's why Vengeance Day is really. Yeah, because on Peacock, it starts at 5 p.m.
For Vengeance Day? So that means, pre-show at 5.
But that's interesting to me because the NXT pre-shows are usually 30 minutes.
Yeah, but they do have 6 matches on this card. So that's a
fair.
little bit more than what they normally do. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to move one to the pre-show because they would have announced that, I think. But I think that they're going to try to get a full hour out of that. And they've done that here and there. And, I guess we'll see. It'll be an hour worth of something that I'm sure nobody needs to really check out. But maybe that'll have something to do with that whole mysterious group of 4 people. I doubt it on the pre-show, but maybe another tease there.
Just the end.
That's what I'm kind of thinking too. Well, we got to break that down. We're going to break down everything else. And as we always want to know what you guys have to say too. So, chat it up in whatever fashion that you are listening to this. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, smarkoutmoment.com, the Discord server, anything along those lines. Of course, if you are on YouTube, make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you get your email alerts set up with that little notification bell because we will do a post show immediately following this. Might just end up being me. Kind of depends on if you're doing the press conference thing, if they do a press conference thing or whatever
I'd
it
like
might
for
be.
them not to. I'd like to actually
Just not do the press conference things
I'd
anymore.
I'd like to be on a review podcast for the first time in 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there one way or another. Redbubble and TeePublic is another way that you guys can support us by picking up some merchandise options that are out there. Thank you to the people that have been picking up some stuff here and there over the past couple days on A Mango Tees. That's another option. Fanboys Anonymous is as well. Patreon, YouTube channel membership is another great way to help us out. The Darkcast tier, the Pick a Poison tier, etc., etc. And let's get into this card. So I guess we'll put a pin in the mystery faction, at least for now, but we'll come back to it when it comes to the card itself. But one of the big topics to talk about isn't actually on this card, and we'll talk about this on the hot tags just a little bit.
I was gonna say, like, are we gonna pay off the whole dick joke I mentioned?
Well, we'll talk about this again on the hot tags, but Ricky Starks popped up on this episode of NXT, and they went out of their way to not at all one time on the show,
very nervous,
or on any kind of social media refer to him as Ricky Starks. Instead, they said things like, "You know who I am," or "Look who it is," or "A surprising person showed up," whatever it might be. That motherfucker is not going to be called Ricky Starks going forward.
The only solace I have is that, oh, fuck. So remember I told you the CW?
Is that
Damn it. I shared with you the CW video that had named Ricky Starks.
They change it?
They changed it to a surprise appearance on WWE NXT.
Yep.
They changed the description to a new superstar arrives to make his presence known. No.
Yep. So that means that they got some kind of a need. Hey, you can't call him Ricky Starks.
It feels like that. Because the official WWE video is the NXT debut that shocked the world. A new competitor arrives in NXT and promises to turn NXT upside down. So he shows up. By the way, unfortunately, I love Ricky Starks. I had the most, oh, it's Christian, reaction to him because they were showing the Vengeance Day card. And you just hear this guy go, oh, this feels good. And I'm thinking, who is that? And they show him, and I'm like, oh, cool, Ricky's here. Like, very, very flat for me, but no, the crowd's chanting, Ricky, Ricky. And he's like, oh, so you know who I am. And then I realize, wait, he didn't say his name. And then I realize, wait, Vic didn't say his name. And then they replay it, and they don't say his name. I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, he's not going to be Ricky Starks, is he? And then I look on socials. They're not saying his name. And I'll read this from Fightful, because Fightful just put out a story on Select. And I'll read this out real quick. It says, Ricky Starks has debuted in NXT. At least that's who we think he is. Starks debuted on February 11th. And notably, not actually saying his name. The crowd knew, however, and chanted it repeatedly. We're told that this was the expected reaction and that not mentioning him by name wasn't an accident. However, we've not been told specifically why. I'm very concerned.
Now, what's weird is that they did put out a bunch of different trademarks recently, but almost every single one of them has been tied to somebody. And we know that, like, certain people are designated one way or another. Like, Osiris Griffin is Josh Black, and Trill London. Some people were like, oh my God, that's Jordan Grace's new name. No, it's somebody else's name. His name's she's a Trillion Williams, I think is his real name.
What? That's a fucking great name.
Yeah.
No, she had joked about, like, oh, I'll take Trill London when the list of names came out and, like, Wrestle Talk or something. She quoted that, I'll take Trill London. I just think it's funny. It's a tremendous bit.
But the only ones that I haven't been able to find any information for whatsoever are Mason Holiday, which it's spelled Mason with a Y, which is fucking awful, and Aria Bennett, which I highly doubt is going to be his name, and Draco Knox. Ugh. I am still crossing my fingers that they're just going to call him Ricky Starks, but I'm assuming that we're going to get some other trademark coming out soon, and it's going to be like, all right, it's, you know, it's some other kind of whack ass name. But he was somebody that people were speculating would have been part of that whole Silhouette group. And I wrote that off entirely because I was like, well, that's impossible. He's still contracted to AEW. And even if he wouldn't be contracted with AEW, they would have had to have him out of there long enough to be able to film that for the past few weeks. Well, yesterday, Miro, Malachi Black, and Ricky Starks get taken off the roster page. And already today he's on NXT. So I'm like, all right, clearly I have a wrong timeline here.
Well, no, it's just that they released, like, they didn't hold them to any non-compete. They were just released, and it's like, okay, you're good to go. Which is
I would
how
have thought that still would have been like WWE wouldn't have been able to do anything with them, you know?
I don't know for a fact. This is me speculating, but I dare say they should have been like, hey, let us know when you're ready. We'll just bring you in, and you can just pop up on TV. That's the beauty of filming at the Performance Center. Is, hey, we know where we're going to be, so we know where we can bring you in.
Yeah. So, I am now going, okay, well, he's one of those four. And he's going to immediately lead a faction. And we'll come back to this later on with some predictions because we know he's going to, well, we know that those four people are going to show up. If he is one of those, we know that they'll do something. It's not like they're going to show up and go, hey, everybody, you know our names, and then leave. We got 6 matches on this card and that going on. And they kind of rushed some of that today on NXT. Like within the first half hour, they were like, here's the extra couple of matches and here's the changes. There you go. And I appreciated that because it made it a lot easier for me to do my job. One of the adjustments that they made was they added Cora Jade to what was previously a triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. Now it's a Fatal 4-Way. So Cora Jade, Roxanne, Perez, Bayley, and of course the champion Giulia. Now, I have the exact same prediction that I had before Cora Jade was added into it. Just a difference as far as who's going to lose. But Cora Jade's taking the pin. Bayley and Roxanne Perez are going to cancel each other out for the most part. Giulia's going to win.
I wish that they saw more in Cora Jade. And I understand it's difficult when she's had 2 serious knee injuries already. But, like, I hate that she was added to this match. First of all, I hate that they added her to this match and didn't just start out with it being a 4-way because that's dumb. Second of all, I hate that when she was added to the match, I went, oh, that's because they don't want anyone else taking the pin. Like that sucks. That's a sucky revelation to have, and I hope I'm proven wrong. I'm not going to say she's going to win, but pin Bayley. No harm done there if Giulia pins Bayley. It's Giulia. Like, you're all right.
AKA the girl from NXT, as Ric Flair called her.
Did he?
Yeah. He was like, oh, I saw Charlotte with the girl from NXT.
On what? What was
some
this?
Fucking interview or something. I don't know. But I look at this card, and I'm going to come back to this a little bit here and there. I look at this card and I immediately go, the results here have to lead in some way, one way or around another, to Stand and Deliver. Because that's the next show. Like, we got Roadblock in the meantime, now that we know that that's happening on March 11th, 12th, something like that. We know that that's going to be like effectively a mini pay-per-view, because anytime that they do those kind of things, like Spring Breakin' and all, they end up doing those. So there are going to be some pit stops, but if a title changes hands on here, most likely their person's walking into Stand and Deliver. I doubt that, like, Giulia's going to drop the title here, and then somebody who beats her for it is going to also lose the title at Roadblock, for instance. So I look at like Giulia, Bayley, Cora, and Roxanne, and I go, wow, you know, this could have been Stand and Deliver in a lot of ways. That's a big, foursome of people. So if that's not going to be a Stand and Deliver, well, then what's the match going to be? And there is a part of me that thinks Cora and Roxanne might have a match at Stand and Deliver, but not for the title.
Bro, no. Let this woman go to the main.
I want her to. I don't know why they haven't just made it official yet.
Like,
but
she has to be official. She's going to wrestle in the chamber.
Well, what else is weird about this whole, like, transfer window thing? They specifically said the transfer window is over with the Royal Rumble. And then immediately afterward went, yeah, never mind. Okay, here's a couple other changes.
Well, no, they did this stupidly and tried to say, I had to scramble to get it in before the end of the weekend, but, like AJ's on Raw. I forgot the SmackDown change.
Katana Chance and Kaden Carter on SmackDown.
Oh boy, game change. Sorry, that's
Well, look at the way that they treated them when they did that. It was like, all right, you're going to show up and immediately get booted off to the side for Carmelo. But hey, it's better to have them treat you like that than to get fired, right? Which more and more of those people. But by not moving Roxanne up already, either means that they're just going to do it after Vengeance Day and just be like, well, we just wanted to wait and fuck you. Stop calling attention to the fact that this is illogical. Or that they want to wait until after Stand and Deliver. And then she'd be like drafted, you know? Because I'm assuming that the draft is going to happen after Mania.
I'm assuming she's just main roster after Vengeance Day.
Well, what's weird is like she's got this NXT Vengeance Day thing going on here. This WWE Vengeance Day thing, I should say. But she's also has this match on this upcoming episode of Raw where she's going to go up against Raquel Rodriguez to potentially qualify for the Elimination Chamber. So if she does that, then it's like, well, you're definitely moving her into two different rosters. Just make it official. And, you know, I guess Adam Pearce isn't doing it, so they can't make it official. But in any case, I do not see Roxanne walking out with this belt. I do not see Cora walking out with it. I do not think Bayley walks out with it. This is 100% Giulia retains.
I would love... okay, yeah. It's just Giulia wins, and then Jordynne Grace.
Jordynne Grace is a good option for that. We haven't seen her pop up yet, and some of the reports had said that she would be in NXT for a short time frame and then move up to the main roster. So makes sense to me. Giulia versus Jordynne Grace. Maybe even they have the title change hands.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely have the title change hands.
It's not, you know, great for Giulia to drop it that fast, but she won it on January 1st.
It's fine.
Or January, whatever the fuck it was.
This nonsense of like, no, you gotta have the belt for 6 months, and otherwise you're a failure. Get over it.
Like, now, you would have to admit, though, that would still be one of the weaker NXT women's title reigns.
Yeah, but you know what I say to that? Kairi Sane didn't have a great title run, and Athena didn't have a great title run, and like, they don't all need to be super duper long. That's what makes the long ones better.
I don't disagree. Yeah, not everybody can have a year-long title reign. You'll never have more champions if you had to do it like that.
Yeah, like that's a huge issue. That's you know, all the reason why I thought going into the Rumble, I was like, let Motor City win, because I'm tired of these long ass reigns. There's no need for them.
Long ass reigns related to Roman Reigns. And Luther.
Weird friendly tree.
Yeah. Another women's title match, though, on this card is Fallon Henley from Fatal Influence, aka Flatulence, against Stephanie Vaquer.
Against losing to Stephanie Vaquer. I have nothing to say here. She's losing.
Well, the Women's North American Championship being on Fallon Henley is something that they are still trying to do. Like Kalani Jordan still wants another match, and Jada Parker wants a match, and Ashanti the Adonis is saying that Carmen Petrovic wants she deserves to have a match and all. But they could all fight Stephanie Vaquer.
And they could do it with ladders.
It could be that.
We like our ladder matches that Stand and Deliver.
It's still a little bit weird to me that they keep teasing that Fatal Influence is going to split up and it's going to be JC versus Fallon. But who's to say JC isn't part of a multi-woman match? Because it could be Fallon, Stephanie, JC, Kalani, Jada,
and
Petrovic.
Carmen. There is your 6.
That's right 6. There. And then Jasmine Nix is on the outside, just standing there, you know.
You get your 6 Knicks.
86 Knicks, and then you don't have to worry about it. But she doesn't have the face guard on anymore, so that's good.
Oh yeah.
I am definitely going with Vaquer here.
She's going to win.
It's a little weird to me that they decided to like push Giulia, Vaquer, and Zarya all at the same time, and then they were pretty clearly like there's a pecking order.
Yeah, which is weird because I always go back to the 10-woman tag in the ECW arena, and Zarya's the one who pins Fallon. In fact, Zarya was the one going after
Mm-hmm.
Fallon.
And they just skirted that.
And it was like they just decided, we think you need a little bit more time over here, so we're going to put you over here.
We're going to put you with Sol Ruka when there's no tag team titles. And hopefully you'll be able to feud with Nikita Lyons.
Hey, Nikita just stays coming back around.
Yeah, Fallon Henley, I don't think is going to be walking out of this with the championship. And spoiler alert, I think that's the only title that's changing hands. But again, we got 2 more of those to talk about.
I'm not sold on that idea.
Now, as far as the potential of all these other things for Stand and Deliver and Roadblock and all, that's where I could see something happening at Roadblock with, like, if Henley loses here, that it's like, it might be like at Roadblock, it's Henley versus Kalani versus Jada versus Carmen. And the match ends with some kind of shenanigans that leads to something or whatever. Like, Roadblock isn't that far away for them to be able to do something, but they still have some time to kill before that too. So it can't be something immediate. I always see these things on people's like predictions, and it baffles me how people have no sense of time, because it'll end up being like, say, I don't know, like we're in like August, and people will be feuding and they'll be like, I think that they're going to fight at Mania. And it's like, do you really think that they're going to just stretch this out like 9 months? Like, wait a little bit. Mania's not right around the corner on every single fucking weekend. And
so, like, the problem I have with that is there's so many bad tropes that people need to unlearn, or they need to like just break the habit, and that's one of them. Where it's just like Mania will happen, right? And let's say like this year's Mania happens, and Cena wins, and the next night, like, Punk just nods at him in his direction. Though people will immediately be like, "That's fucking SummerSlam." Like, what? No. Like, please, there's 8 months. Can we just do something else?
And they'll book the whole thing too.
Yeah.
It'll be like, do you have anything in the meantime? Well, I mean, they'll do other stuff. Okay, well, you can look forward ahead, and you can try to do like, we always try to say like, oh, what do you think's going to happen at Mania? Like all this kind of stuff, like throughout the year. But like, it changes. And clearly it changes, if you're The Rock, especially. But there's like 9 weeks, I think, from now until Stand and Deliver. You have like halfway through that is Roadblock, and then you need to build up something for Stand and Deliver. So anybody who's fighting for a title in this thing might not be in the title picture continuing after that. And that's where I can go into something like the tag team title match. Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura are up against Axiom. I can't see this being a situation where it's like, well then Briggs and Inamura win, and then it's a rematch at Mania weekend. No, I don't think that that's the case. I'm looking at this, and first off, I think Axiom's retaining, but
I could see Briggs and Inamura winning, and then Axiom wins it back at the Garden.
I still don't think that they'll end up dropping those belts. I think if anything,
I think it's a good move for Inamura and like for the Noah relationship.
See, I actually kind of think if anything crazy happens, Briggs and Inamura lose, and then Briggs turns on Inamura.
That could also happen. Either way, I think this is either in MSG, which I almost prefer for the venue, or Stand and Deliver. It's NXT versus TNA tag title match. Hardys versus Axiom.
See, I don't have anything in my mind about what they're going to do, but that TNA crossover, that could be a lot of fun.
It's the Hardy Boys.
Like, I mean, you're not going to have to sell me on the marquee for that. I don't know if the Hardys can pull it off at this point, but
It's we. It's they're still good at plunder matches, but I don't know if you can just go, hey, the Hardys are here. Do you want to just do a ladder match? But they're still good at plunder matches, so I think you could probably get away with it.
I mean, if not, what are the other tag teams?
Oh,
They've already had matches with OTM. They've already had matches with pretty much everybody that I can think of.
If not them, then I'm absolutely going. Give it another match with No Clear to Catch Crew and give it to No Clear to Catch Crew. That match was great at a Deadline. I'd watch it again.
Nothing stands out to me, but I could see this being maybe a way to get around and doing something like Brooks Jensen and Nico Vance. I could see this being...
Man, that's so lame from a match perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that would stand out to me as being like, ooh, look at that card. But I could see that maybe being where they go. I could see maybe, this is a little bit of a stretch, but like, they got to be doing something with this Chase U thing.
Oh, what's their names? Kel Dixon and
Uriah Connors.
Brogan Finley. Is it Brogan? Yeah, it's Brogan.
Yeah. Or maybe the group that Starks is going to lead already goes right
I'm hoping that it's Ricky Starks is leading this group of 4 people, and then it looks like he's pissed. Because I got to be honest, and we'll get into it a little bit later, but it's looking a little retribution-y in terms of presentation, and I don't love that.
Yeah. It could be Tyreek Igwe and Tyson DuPont.
Oh, yeah.
If they want to like build those guys up in the next couple weeks.
But they would also have to build up Wesley beside them to either win the NXT title or something. And I don't know if they're ready for that.
He's just not been doing anything, really.
Well, he's been on Impact.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, but that's not an excuse because so has Cora Jade.
Yeah.
But like DuPont wrestled this past week. Wesley wrestled the week before that. So he's doing stuff. They don't have any spot for him on NXT.
Well, in any case, I'm going for Axiom retains.
Yeah, I could see Axiom retains and then Josh Briggs turns. You said it sounds really good. I'm gonna go with that.
We know Javon Evans is going to be going up against Ethan Page, despite the clearance from the doctors. Now they're saying that he's quote medically cleared, but that they were advising against it because, like, yeah, well, you're supposed to have a fucked up jaw.
So, well, the American healthcare system,
well,
it's very clearly just being like, hey, look, you're cleared, I guess, and I'm going to leave the decision up to you, I guess. But I really wouldn't wrestle with your jaw in the conditions then, I guess.
Yeah, so he signs a waiver and he gets this match. Ethan Page is like, all right, well, if you want to do that, then I'll end your career. And I have no idea who's going to win this because this strikes me as one of those things that they're going to end this at Roadblock. And that's going to be some kind of like a street fight. So does Page win this? And then it's like, oh, they continue to brawl. And then it's like, we're going to settle this in a last man standing or something. Or does Evans get like a, roll up win or something? And then Page goes after him some more. Then it's like, you two have to settle this,
That's what I think. I would do. All right, Javon gets like a 1-2-3 kid moonsault on him or something, or like a quick roll up, and then Page blasts him, and he gets stretchered out. Then you have a stretcher match at Roadblock, middle of the line. because it's in March. I was going to call it End of the Line, but it's not that.
Roadblock, the march to WrestleMania. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that it's like, we got at least one more match. I don't know if they're going to stretch it all the way till Stand and Deliver. And it seems like they are going to potentially have a lot of things that they have to juggle for Stand and Deliver. So this probably seems like more of a Roadblock thing to me. But I am leaning a little bit more towards Evans winning.
I think Evans wins.
And either way, if he doesn't win this, he wins the other one.
Yeah, he'll win the feud.
Yeah. Eddy Thorpe and Trick Williams have a strap match. There's another thing that it's like, that feud's still continuing? Okay, well, I guess it's because they wanted Trick to do something.
Do you think that they dropped the Ava of it all?
For Thorpe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks. Because it's like the third time in quite a few years that like Michaels gets involved in something just to go, and never mind. Like,
it was like Grayson Waller, Gargano.
Remember when it looked like he was gonna fight Grayson Waller for 5 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's like, oh, you want me to step in the ring? Yeah, you want me to have one more match? You want me to do that? Well, I'm gonna do that right now. Exactly what I'm gonna do is bring out Johnny Gargano.
It's kind of like that, but with Thorpe, it was even weirder because he got like physical with them. So mad that he accidentally knocked over Ava. So maybe they pick that up, maybe they don't. I don't know. And this is just so Trick can literally whoop him, right? No, like that's what this is.
Whoop that Thorpe, yeah.
Whoa,
speaking of which, where the fuck is Hikuleo?
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about Lance Anoa'i. Where are these people? Maybe they're coming in with Lance. I mean, with fucking Ricky.
I mean, it doesn't look like that.
It did not look like that at all, but like it would make more sense if it was like a look. I'll be honest with you, it would make sense if it was Miro, Black, and Starks. You just do not like the NWO, but you do like, hey, we weren't being used, and now we're being used. You can throw in Ethan Page into that, like, and now we're being used. Either way, I think they're showing up at the end of like the Obafemi match.
Well, the Obafemi match is Obafemi defending the NXT Championship in a triple threat against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, which every single one of these plays out exactly the same. So this is one of those things where it's like you watch wrestling long enough, you realize the repeats. A-Town Down Under's the tag team. They're getting into each other with like some jabs about, well, you've never earned a singles title at this point. Oh, I'm sick and tired of hearing about how you beat John Cena, etc., etc. One of them's going to go for a pin after they've been double teaming Obafemi.
And the other one's going to pull him off. And they're going
to go, hey, what are you doing?
Hey,
I'm trying to win the match. I want to win the match.
I thought we were cool. What the heck?
And then it's going to be the three of them against each other, predominantly with Obafemi fighting both of them off. And then Obafemi's going to beat both of them. Now, yeah. I don't want this to necessarily happen because it'll make them look bad. But
who cares?
There's a chance that they could get stacked up.
Oh, they should. They should.
One way or another, Obafemi's got that championship still on a lock. Like, yeah. It's going to be Obafemi versus Trick Williams at Stand and Deliver.
I don't think so. Roadblock.
Oh, yeah. I mean, technically, I guess Roadblock could be in the way for that.
Just get Roadblock. Get Trick out of there. Just like you need to get Roxanne out of there. And let Ricky Starks go up against Oba. Or, I would do Ricky, but maybe Hikuleo or Lantana White. The problem with NXT is that their men's division sucks. It sucks. It's awful. You should not be in a position where you pull out A-Town Down Under and the place goes nuts. You know? Use Ricky. Use Wesley. He's really good. Charlie Dempsey. I know I'm the biggest fan of him on this podcast, but like, build him up to a match. I don't care. Do something with someone, but you shouldn't need to rely on A-Town Down Under. Fuck. If you were going to do this bit, you know who would have been perfect? DIY.
What do you mean? To lose to Obafemi?
Yeah, I mean, like, as a tag team that comes into NXT and just goes, we're going to fight you? Can you imagine a better tag team? They're the heart and soul of NXT.
I mean, I wouldn't want them to be in that position and lose because they already are not as high up on the roster as I want them to be, but I would have leaned more. I don't know. See, like my thought process when it comes to NXT and the main roster is if somebody is like, it's a nice way of putting this. Well, like we do our tier list, usually around like September, October. Some people like a Cody Rhodes or a Seth Rollins is like an S tier. And somebody like an Akira Tozawa is like, all right, well, they make him just a jobber. So he's on the low end of everything. You can't be too far on the low end and go to NXT and make it seem like you're worth a damn because then it just makes everybody else look bad. But if you're in that like D range, then suddenly you look like a B plus. If you're a C, suddenly you're an A. And somebody like a Shotzi, for instance, can go to NXT, and if they would have given her the Women's North American title, I would have been like, oh, okay. That makes sense. But up against somebody like an Obafemi, you can't just sort of put like, hey, it's Obafemi against Birdo, and have me go, oh man, I think you might win that title. You know? So there's not many people on the roster right now that I think could go up against an Obafemi on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT that's like not already either too big of a name or they're too small of a guy or whatever. Like, I'd be shocked if they were to do like, all right, it's Obafemi against like AJ Styles. Then I'd be like, holy shit, why is AJ going down to NXT? If he wasn't the Intercontinental Champion or the United States Champion, Nakamura would be like, okay, that'd be fun. Frankly, at this point, Nakamura, I don't know why they have him with that belt. They're not doing fuck all with him.
It's a cool entrance. Shut up.
They're doing the same thing that they always do with Nakamura. They give him a mid-card title, then he doesn't show up. Or he's like hanging around in the background. They do not like booking Nakamura mid-card title reigns, and yet they keep giving it to him and then just, all right, we'll figure something out in a couple months.
You know, I don't usually like this kind of match, but I'll let it slide for just these two people. I wouldn't mind if it was Oba Omos.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I would not mind at all.
That would be a lot of fun because it's just the two of the biggest dudes on the entire roster. Are they actually the two biggest at this point?
I don't know about Oba, but definitely, I mean, Omos is colossal. So yes, he definitely is.
He's Omasal. My trazodone hasn't kicked in yet fully, but it's starting to get there. I'd be down for, Omasal against Obafemi.
I love Mossel. Like, what do you do?
I gotta give them a little bit of the 12:46 a.m. flavor. Yeah, I still think it's going to be Trick Williams against Obafemi. And in that scenario, I still don't think that's necessarily the right way to go either, because, all right, Obafemi retains over that, and then Trick just leaves, and he's just a losing guy. Like, I'd rather Trick kind of move on, but I don't think that they would move him to the main roster and give him something to do for Mania. So I'm like, all right, he's sticking around until after Mania.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It'd be funny if he was like the first round draft pick, and then it could be like, hey, Bello, you know, your first round draft pick last year.
I just hope that they use, and I know that like with the Jey Uso discussions that people aren't into, mostly character guys, but like Trick Williams, that's his main bread and butter. So I hope he's used effectively.
Yeah, I don't want them to move him to the main roster and be like, we don't have anything for you to do, so you're going to be there, but you're going to basically just be doing nothing. Don't do a Blair Davenport with him.
Yeah, please don't.
But you're expecting Starks and company to jump Femi after the match?
Yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, my mentality is you should always go after the top guy. No matter what, like that should be the goal. It's the biggest thing you can do. And it's Ricky Starks. I told you privately, and I will say this publicly. I think Ricky Starks has more equity in him than Ethan Page did. And Ethan Page went right for the world title. So I would go with Ricky Starks.
See, I kind of want Starks to be the next champion. And by doing so, I don't think that'll happen at Stand and Deliver. So I'm actually kind of thinking what's going to happen here is that Starks and them are going to go after Trick.
I thought about that too, because he is the face of the company.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I always hate when, and this is a very modern WWE idea, the face of the company somehow means more than being the top champion.
Yeah. Oh, they don't need the belt. And then other times they give the belt to somebody that they end up being like, oh, it's because they needed it. And
Yeah,
even though
it's
they
like,
are.
guys, it's the belt. What do you mean? Like, annoying.
So, like, there's a part of me that kind of thinks that Roadblock is going to be Trick Williams versus Ricky Starks. And then maybe Oba is up against somebody else at Stand and Deliver or something. Or maybe it is Trick Williams there, and maybe Starks only has a very short feud with Trick. Or maybe it's a triple threat with the three of them. But if it's not Ricky Starks that, well, I'll also put it this way. You put Trick Williams and Obafemi together, and it looks like Obafemi should win. But you put Ricky Starks and Obafemi together, and it's like, all right, well, Obafemi definitely should win. Ricky's a smaller guy than Trick. And I don't know if I would fully believe Ricky Starks beating Obafemi, even with three other people helping. But something has to be played around with when it comes to finishing out that Trick Williams story. And if it's not going to be Oba against Ricky, and it's not going to be Trick and Ricky, I don't know what they necessarily do at Vengeance Day, but they've done this in the past too, which has been weird, where like, and I can't think of the example off the top of my head of what it was, but it was like Adam Cole, I think, had attacked somebody and then started a feud with somebody completely different. Wasn't it like he attacked like Drew McIntyre and then immediately feuded with like
Yes.
Velveteen Dream or someone.
It was like Aleister Black, I think. Because he comes in. Because he came in, I think the night that McIntyre won.
Like McIntyre beats Andrade.
I think no. He beat Bobby Roode.
He beats Rude.
And then loses it to Andrade. Because they did the thing where Adam Cole comes in with Fish and O'Reilly, and it seems like, okay, this is the obvious next step. And remember, they had Cole lose for a good minute. He lost in War Games, I believe. I think. No, they might have won War Games, but he lost to Aleister Black in Philly. And it wasn't until they created the North American title that they were like, okay, now you can start winning. So they do tend to do that sometimes. But I don't like that. Especially for a guy like Ricky, who's been iced for a year. Let's get this dude in the ring and let's get him winning matches on TV.
And if it wasn't for the fact that they just renewed this whole angle with the North American Championship, for anybody that didn't see NXT tonight, there's a steel cage match. Ridge Holland loses to Tony D'Angelo because Izzy Dame. Well, it's weird. Izzy Dame goes to put a crowbar in the ring. Stax is like, hey, what are you doing? No. And she's like, I'm trying to help him. And then he's like, oh, okay, never mind. And then he puts it in there. Tony D uses that. Ridge Holland is upset because Ridge Holland's whole point was, I can win if nobody interferes. And then somebody interfered. So he goes after Luca Crusifino and Channing Stax Lorenzo. And in the meantime, Dame hits Tony D in the back with the crowbar. And Sean Spears, Brooks Jensen, and Nico Vance come in. They beat everybody up. So the obvious play there is, we're going to come around to the Sean Spears thing. In the meantime, Ridge Holland has still got some issues. Maybe there's a triple threat. Maybe Holland's just out of the picture by now. But Sean Spears is the next main guy to be targeting the North American title. If that wasn't already set up and they had some kind of match for Tony D here, then I would have been like, oh, Ricky Starks is going to be the next guy to go after Tony D.
Which isn't a bad idea.
But that would be really weird for me if they just rushed that and then Starks is fighting for the North American title at Stand and Deliver, So maybe it's as simple as they do just want Oba Femi to drop that belt. And maybe it's just Starks is going to just win that. And I don't think Oba Femi is coming up to the main roster until like maybe at the end of the year or so. But there's been people that have been called up sooner. So next week, Vengeance Day, of course, we'll find out what happens there. Obviously, something crazy happens and it's like, all right, Grayson Waller wins the title. Then we're going to be like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's like you're going to get to Stand and Deliver and it's going to be Grayson Waller versus Ricky Starks versus Eddie Thorpe.
Right. Yeah.
NXT title.
But I am thinking Oba Femi retains and then Oba Femi retains at Stand and Deliver.
Not a doubt in my mind, though. Oba Femi retains. I don't know about Stand and Deliver because I'm not there, but he's definitely retaining a Vengeance Day.
Those are our thoughts about the prediction side of Vengeance Day. Make sure that you all leave your comments below and tell us what you think is going to happen. Make sure that you are supporting us on all the different avenues. We got the Fanboys Anonymous website. We've got the Darkcast here. I mentioned that before, whatever. We've got everything on the link tree at amangotree.com. Find those different accounts there that you want to follow and then do that. I'm at Tony Mango on a good portion of them. Smark Out Moment stuff, Fanboys Anonymous stuff. It's all there too. Make sure that you're following Rob.
Yeah, I waited for the end for this to say that I'm an idiot and I botched my own joke at the beginning. What did I say? I want to get over Dick. I meant to say I wanted to get Dick over, but I botched that. So, there it is. Still, still applies. I am still sadly on the app. So, if anybody wants to support in that way, that'd be lovely. Certainly. If not that, you can also check out my stuff at Dude Felice.
Not Dick Felice.
Not Dick Felice. Although, listen, if the market was there, I got a roof I need to fix. Maybe that's an option one day.
Maybe I'll sign up for only mangoes.
I mean, again, the money's tight. there could be things worked out. Yeah, and I'll be covering Vengeance Day and Grand Slam, and maybe I'll even be here with Tony for another fun conversation like this. Because who doesn't love the combination of Rob and Tony?
And if you say that you don't, then go to hell.
It's like,
I don't know what's happening with Grand Slam, but we'll talk about that on our hot tags, break down anything else that we want to talk about throughout the week and all that stuff going forward. So make sure that if you are interested in those topics, you check out the hot tags coming up on Friday afternoon. But until then, that's going to do us in for the Vengeance Day Pay-Per-Viewpoint preview and prediction side of things. So adios for now. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.